So my name is Grant Vogl. I'm the Collections and Exhibitions Manager here at the Bytown Museum in Ottawa, beside the Rideau Canal, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Our museum focuses on the history of Bytown and Ottawa from the building of the canal through to the end of the First World War. And a big part of the story we tell is of the Irish in the area as related to the building of the Rideau Canal itself. My own interest in Irish history and Irish famine history stems from some of my own personal connections. A lot of my mother's side of the family does come from that area and from that time period. And so reaching back and finding those own stories in my own family led me to do my own research there. And then when I was beginning to work with the collection and history of the Bytown Museum, I was then able to draw that focus out and kind of learn some of the stories that were more pertinent to the local history of the areas related to the Irish, both pre-famine and during the famine period. The Irish first came to the Ottawa Valley in 1818. They were settlers from the War of 1812, and they were given land as a bulwark against possible future American aggression. Following the potato famine of 1821, there was a large influx of Irish, mostly Catholic Irish, to the Ottawa Valley west of here in 1823, and those two primary settlements were very important in providing an already existing labor market for when the canal construction itself began in 1826. So when that did happen, laborers from the Ottawa Valley, as well as new immigrants, mostly impoverished Irish seeking work, did come to the canal site to find meaningful labor. The bias being that the Irish were mostly just the pick and shovel men, unskilled labor as it were, was very prevalent at the time. However, current research does show that the Irish were very integral in all strata of the work during the canal, both from indeed the pick and shovel men, but also skilled masons. The master smith and master carpenter on the canal were both Irish birth, as well as many of the first entrepreneurs, school teachers, and clerks were also of Irish birth. So it wasn't just this kind of mass of unskilled labor. There was indeed much skilled labor in the initial development of Bytown that led to becoming Ottawa and the nation's capital and what it is today. That fabric was then strengthened during the Great Famine period, when large influx of Irish again came to Ottawa, and specifically in Black 47, which is also the year that the direct descendants of my family came to Canada. They really came into Ottawa, and unfortunately the typhoid epidemic came with them. And so it was at that time that the Bytown Sisters of Charity set up a large makeshift hospital to deal with the influx of patients. And in the summer of 1847 through to 1848, there was nearly 600 patients that were treated off the famine ships of typhoid fever. And so again, that large influx of Irishness into Ottawa, weaving into the fabric of what the city became today. And by the 1890s, as much as 35% of the population of Ottawa did in fact claim Irish ancestry. So through from the first settlements in the early 1800s right till the famine period and beyond, the Irish were a great influence on the shaping of the city that would become the capital of Canada.